What's going on out there? This is Bradley Lewis with Hairline Ink Radio, and today I'm excited to get to share with you all a conversation that I had with Mike Muszynski. Mike is the lead practitioner at Hairline Inc. in Chicago and has been in the business since 2012, so he's got loads of experience. He's been an artist his entire life. He attended fashion school, he's played in a band, he's been in construction. He's truly an incredible, kind human being, and it's my pleasure to get to work with him on a day-to-day basis. So without further ado, here is Mike Muszynski. How's it going, man?
Good, Bradley. Awesome. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Just back in the office. Yesterday was the 4th of July. We're recording this on July 5th. So
yeah.
I know I saw that your wife took the kids out and had a fun day. What were you guys up to?
She did, actually. So she took the kiddos, her sister, and her mom, because I was working yesterday, which was awesome. I had 2 clients, but yeah, they went out to a carnival where they have fireworks at night, but during the day have a carnival for the kiddos. So they went out, enjoyed it, and loved it, and slept through the entire night, which I love.
Yeah, I bet. You get some quiet time, some downtime.
Yeah.
Well, cool, brother. So for those of us who, or for those listening who haven't heard of you or met you before, or maybe they've seen you on our website but they don't really know your story, just give everybody a little bit about your background. Where are you from?
Gotcha.
What kind of got you into arts and SMP, and just catch us up.
All right, so a little background of me. Probably people know me as Magic Mike, but my name is Mike Muszynski. So the story starts actually with my mom, I would say. In the mid 80s, obviously she wanted to follow the American dream, so she made a choice to move to the United States by herself, just to test it out, see how it is. She loved it. She came back after a year, and the plan was for us to move to U.S. So she went
Poland, right?
From Poland, correct? Yeah, because I was born in Poland, born in '81, back in the day. So she went back there again to get everything set up for us to come over. And it was me, my dad, and my brother was supposed to come as well, because I have an older brother, which is 7 years older than me. But my brother was already 17 years old, so he already started high school. He was in high school when I was 11 years old. So he kind of wanted to stay behind, because he already had a lot of friends. He had the school. So it was a tough choice for my parents to do. Should they leave him or should they take him with us? But, my parents are so amazing. They let him stay, follow his own dreams, his passion, which was music. So me and my dad came into the United States in 91 to join with my mom. And I just grew up in the United States, in the Chicago area. We lived in Chicago and went through school I started 5th grade when I came over here. So they moved me up because education is much higher in Poland. So I was in 4th grade, but since with the education, they moved me to the 5th grade. And after finishing 8th grade, we moved to the suburbs, Des Plaines, Illinois. So it's about, I would say, half an hour away from Chicago. So I started high school, went to Maine East High School, which was one of the top high schools in the nation at that time. Hillary Clinton went over there. Harrison Ford went to that school as well.
That's pretty cool.
I still had a history teacher that used to teach Harrison Ford. He used to tell us, yeah, this is where Harrison Ford used to sit. I was like, wow, really? Like, how old are you then? But yeah, I made met amazing people, amazing friends, which those are my best friends till this day. In high school, I was always an artist since the beginning. So I was always drawing since a little kid, designing, different sculptures. And I got into music since my brother's a musician. He's a very talented musician. He's a huge inspiration for me as well, because he introduced me to music. So in high school, me and my friends, we created actually a punk band. So we played for a couple of years. I used to play the drums. So we played some good shows. And after, high school, graduating, it was time for me either picking music or going to college and getting a degree. So at that time, I still wasn't decided what should I do. I know it was something with art. I wasn't sure what it was going to be. So I quit the band. My friends still kept playing, and they made it pretty big later on. They had a few members from a band called Rise Against, as probably a lot of people know who Rise Against is.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, one of the biggest bands in the United States. It's a punk rock band. So they made it pretty far, and then obviously it was time for them to start a family as well. So the band broke up. And I actually chose at that time going into fashion, because what happened is when you're in high school, obviously you socialize, you go out, you need some clothes, pants, and a lot of stuff you couldn't find for guys in stores. So I started doing my own pants, doing tie-dyes, ripped jeans, t-shirts, logos. So a lot of my friends and people saw what I do, and they liked it, and they always ask me, Mike, would you mind doing one for me, or for my girlfriend or for my friend? And I was like, yeah, why not? So I started doing clothes for my friends, designing them. And then when it came to picking, my major, I chose fashion design. I just wanted to try it out. I had the drawing, already, to perfection, because I know how to draw, paint. So it wasn't that hard. It was just getting the technique and learning the process of designing itself, because it looks different on the drawing than when you put it on a person or model. It doesn't look the same. So I went through International Academy of Fashion Technology in downtown Chicago, started school in 2004 and graduated in 2007 with bachelor degree in fine arts. And after college, I made a lot of friends, made another connection in art industry. We found a few people that wanted to invest and create a fashion line company. So it was me and my colleague that we worked as hat designers. So we designed, we traveled to Paris for fabric shows, Vegas magic show, to promote yourself and obviously sell your merchandise to different stores. So it was a great experience, but in fashion, you either gotta know someone or be in a different location to make it, because it's a very hard category,
Well, yeah, and back then we didn't have Instagram influencers.
Sure.
You could just send products to, and they'd
Sure.
wear it. And
or Instagram, marketing yourself as well. So it was pretty hard.
A lot different than I bet.
It was for sure. But it was a great experience. We made a few clothes. I got to, do knitting, which I never knew I can do knitting. All my friends, were surprised I actually knitted a dress, made a lot of, evening gowns, avant-garde gowns, sold it to a few people, did a lot of fashion shows around Chicago area. Most of them was like nightclub shows, because that's when you can promote yourself the best. So we've done a lot of shows around Chicago I would say we did that for 3 years or so.
So when you're doing those nightclub shows, you're literally going on like weekends to nightclubs that are busy and
Sure.
having girls model your clothes.
Yeah, correct. Yep. And then after fashion, obviously the company wasn't doing that well because they needed much more investment to run the company itself. So they put the company on hold. And what I started doing is doing my own stuff. So I started doing accessories, men's and women's accessories like wristbands, leather wristbands, handmade. And I used to sell them on Etsy, which is similar website to eBay, but everything is handmade. It's not mass produced.
Yep.
So I started selling my stuff on Etsy. A lot of people were buying as well. And at that time, I was still painting, drawing. I have a lot of paintings I sold to clienteles. And then
how did you get the paintings and your kind of art out there when you were doing your own thing?
So the painting happened is before I went to International Academy of Fashion Technology. I went to community college just to get the classes out of the way. The credits. So I took few art classes, which was sculpture, painting, computer graphic. So I did some of the paintings in class itself. And then on free time at home, I was painting, whenever I had time, because at that time I still had no kids, so I had much more time to myself.
But how did you find buyers for that kind of art?
It was spread to word. So if I sold it to my uncle, and then my uncle, marketed to his friends, and then it just spread. So it was more of mouth of word. People were,
Got it. Yeah. Just word of mouth.
It wasn't.
You see it at someone's house, and then they ask, where do you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Correct. So it worked, in the part time, and then just to pay my bills, I started doing construction with my dad, because my dad has a hidden talent that he never knew he had when he came to the United States. He was doing something totally different, because you start from the beginning when you come over here. So he's a amazing carpenter and general contractor, so you can do anything there is with construction, building. So I worked with him since I was, I think, 15. We started flipping houses, remodeling bathrooms, basements, and obviously painting. So I was good in painting already, so it came very easily to me. And I learned a lot of stuff from him where, I was able to remodel my own house. He, without his knowledge, I don't think I would be at this point I am right now, because, construction is art as well. It comes to details. You got to be precise. What they always said, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, it's really important.
And I used to measure once and cut twice. You know what I mean? So now I measure twice and cut once. But it's all those little details, and it carried to Scalp Micropigmentation as well.
You've got to plan. You've got to see it. You've got to have an idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's
you've got to work towards that. The game plan is really important in construction, I'd imagine.
For sure, yeah. It's a game plan. The same thing with SMP, with painting, with drawing. With drawing, painting, you got to sketch it out in your head in a way. So you got to have a game plan of what needs to be done next. But and then after graduating, like I said, after graduating, working with fashion, and I started struggling with hair loss when I was a senior year in high school. It was a huge concern to me, because at that age, this is where you go out, you socialize, you go clubbing, you meet friends. Yeah. I didn't have that what's it called, the confidence to go out without a hat, because my hair was thinning out.
What about your older brother and your dad and stuff? So
my dad he's bald as well. He's got the comb over, the traditional European comb over, which I told him, Dad, shave it, and we can do SMP. But he likes his looks, so I'm not going to pressure him.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Right, it's not. And my brother, actually, he had a lot of hair. Since being a musician, the music that he plays is called world music. So he plays congos. He basically owns every African instrument there is, percussion instrument. So he had
maybe
dreadlocks.
We'll post a link to some of it in the description on this podcast, right. And if we can get it hooked up, I'll use it for the intro and outro music.
Nice, yeah. His band's called Wadada, so and his name is Dominic.
Can you spell that?
Wadada, and you can put .pl at the end, which is from Poland, because there's Wadada in Jamaica and Africa as well.
Is it all part of the same group, or are those different bands?
It's a different group.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's a different group.
I don't know if there was like a world coalition of musicians.
Like a chain. Where were we at?
we were talking about some hair loss.
Yeah, so he actually got dreadlocks. He had dreadlocks, similar to Bob Marley dreadlocks. When he was 16, that's when he started going his dreadlocks, and by the age of, I think, 28. He started losing, because what dreadlocks are, obviously, they pull on your hair follicle. They're pretty heavy. So your hair follicle gets pretty weak, and they basically fall out. So
that's what we call traction alopecia,
traction alopecia,
right?
correct. Yeah. So he had a few patches in the front. He still kept his, I think, 7 or 8 dreadlocks that he's got on the back of the crown area, on the bottom of it, hanging, which looks pretty cool. But that's his style.
Kind of like Predator or something.
Like Predator, like less of the Mohicans. Less of them out there. Best way, less of the Mohicans. There we go. So yeah.
But it started happening to you early, though.
Yeah,
you said
to
high
me,
school.
yeah, to me early. Yeah, it was in high school. I don't know. It was genetic or not, or if it was stress, what it was. But yeah, so I was losing my hair when I was 18, thinning out, and then since being an artist, I shaved my head. And I came out with a powder. I made a powder from a very, very fine pencil, pastel pencil. So what I took a razor and I scraped that pencil to like a very fine powder, where I took that powder, applied it on my head. It was a similar effect of SMP because I made my scalp darker, whatever hair that I have left over, gave him some fiber to it, made him thicker, and for it not to spread or not to, run on my face when I was sweating, I put a hairspray on top of it, so it locked it in. So I could, keep that,
So you made Topics before we heard of
Probably
Topics.
before Topics, correct. Yeah, probably, yeah, that's right.
But not quite hair fibers, though. You said it was like a pencil shavings?
Yeah, so it was a powder. So I took that powder on my finger and spread it on my head. And since the powder was so fine, it went inside my hair follicles, which
really
made that hair follicle darker. But you couldn't see the dots. So there was no effect from SMP where you see the dots.
It's more just like a shadow.
Yeah, that was a shadow. But still, I liked the way it looked, and no one ever, pointed out. Everyone thought that I just, shaved my head, and that was my hair. So I kept it for about 5 years. No one knew about it except my family.
How much powder were you making in your bathroom every night?
Actually, it wasn't that much. From one pencil, like a regular pencil, the pencil will last me probably a year and a half. So it was a little bit, not much. And the pencil cost maybe $2 at the store. So it was perfect. So I kept it for 5 years. No one knew about it, but I was getting tired of that maintenance every day, putting it on, not every day, every 2 or 3 days. And I still had to have the guard up in case someone, touches it or scratches it, because it wasn't scratch resistant.
What about sweat? What about like a pool or something?
Yes. Sweat, it was still, sweat proof, because like I said, when I put the hairspray on top of it locks it in. But if I went to a pool and let's say I rubbed it, it would have come off right away. So, I still had to avoid the pool parties, watching out for my friends if no one's behind me, because they never knew I had anything on. But you never know if someone comes out to you, just starts rubbing your hair and it comes off. So, I was looking for different solution, and I was, as everyone else, I heard it, stories from all the clients, and probably everyone can relate, is what if you can tattoo your hat? You know what I mean? So I started looking into it, and at that time, thank God that HIS popped out, because I was going to go into a traditional tattoo parlor and ask if they can do it, which we know how that turns out eventually.
Right.
So it was late 2012 when his hair opened up their clinic in Chicago, because the English company started in 2001 in England, Birmingham. So they're basically like the godfather of SMP, as everyone says, as an established company, and then came to the United States in 2006, opened their LA clinic, New York, and then Chicago 2012. So when they opened up, that's when I was researching, and it was perfect because it was exactly same thing as I had on my head from the powder, but this is something permanent. I don't have to reapply anymore. So I scheduled my consultation, and that's when I met my, one of my good friends, Matt Ayulo from Scalp Micro USA. He was a consultant and practitioner as well. And he was flying in from New York every 2 weeks to do consultation, do treatments as well. And a practitioner at that time was Matt and Brian. They used to work for his as well. So when I came in for my consultation, I was wearing the concealer on top. And I walked into the room and I met Matt. We started chatting, we started talking. And he asked me, he's like, well, Mike, what do you want to cover up? Because I see you have a lot of hair, just shave it. And I have a small scar in the back. So he asked me, would you like to cover your scar? And I looked at him, I was like, Matt, I'm bald. I'm completely bald. This is just a concealer. It's like, no, we know what bald is. This is not concealer, you know. I was like, Matt, seriously, give me a wet wipe and I'll show it to you. So I took the wet wipe, you know, took everything off halfway, and he looks at it, he's like, oh shit, yeah, you are bald, man. So
surprise.
So that's what we became, you know, we became good friends since then.
That was before they asked you to not cut your hair for 3 days before your consultation.
Yeah, correct. So, and you know, I already knew once I saw, you know, Matt's treatment, I was already sold. I was like, this is exactly what I want. So I signed up, got it done, and while I was getting my treatment done, we're chatting if they're looking for a practitioner, because this is something I would like to do, because it's, you know, it caught my eye right away. And I was asking if they're hiring someone for Chicago area, and then Matt said, actually, yes, they are. They're looking someone that's permanent in Chicago to do treatments, because all the practitioners were flying from New York, like I said, every 2 weeks. So he actually pushed my resume to the management in Birmingham. And they got back to me. And since being an artist, getting my bachelor's degree in fine arts, obviously it was pretty easy for me to get this position in a way, because I was already, you know, an artist.
Yeah, it's a great fit.
It's a great fit. So drawing wasn't an issue. Just getting the technique, you know, and learning the process of it, because it was something new.
Well, and you're into tattoos, right? So
yeah. So I was into tattoos.
When did you start getting into tattoos?
Correct. So I skipped that. So my first tattoo, I got it when I was 18, spring break, in high school, and it was the first
lower
tattoo.
part of your back, huh?
Yeah, right. The tramp stamp. I got the traditional tribal tattoo on your bicep, which probably millions of people have. Everyone makes that mistake when they go into a tattoo parlor and they pick that design from the wall. It's like, this is what I want. And probably another 3,000 people have the same one. But at that time, it was just being different in school. I was probably maybe like one of, you know, or two of 1,000 people having a tattoo in school, in high school. So once I got the tattoo, I got hooked on it. I was just addicted to tattoos. So later, when I graduated high school, I went to Europe to visit my brother, and we both got tattoos at the same time, because he's already tattooed up. So I had an excuse to my parents saying, well, my brother has a tattoo, why can't I have one? So that's how my process of tattooing started. So slowly I started covering my entire arm. So I have 2 sleeves, got into my chest after my daughter was born, and then got my neck done as well, back of my neck for my other kiddos too. So yeah, so that's how I started with tattooing. So when I was doing the interview with his hair, I had to go through psychological tests, because I got to make sure you're okay in the head, because you're working with a patient and a needle. Once I passed those, you know, they sent me to Birmingham, England for 3 months of training. And that's when I met my English brothers, my best friends, Paul, Clark, and Simon Lane. Amazing guys, which they run Brandwood Clinic. But we all worked for his, any practitioner that's out there that started back, you know, in 2010 or 2000, you know, early 2000, worked for HIS, and you know, that's where we got the proper training. So I was there for 3 months. Also met Orion, met Marcus, that's in London, met Zhang, that it's LA, and then Danny Aziz and Jonathan Giroux, and then Jonathan Chandler from San Francisco as well. Because after being 3 months in England, I continued my training with Zhang in LA for additional 4 weeks. So that's when John Chandler, started his training as well. So we actually chilled for those 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then he ended up doing like a very long apprenticeship there with Zhang, right?
Yes, he did.
I've heard that story.
Correct. Yeah, he did. So, but that's how networking started already with these guys.
So you guys are kind of all spread out now, and in different parts of the globe.
Correct. And then, because Matt Ayulo has Scalp Micropigmentation, Jonathan Giroux, you have John Chandler, Zhang, and then Danny in Miami. So yeah, we're spread out. So once I got my training done, I worked for his in downtown Chicago until 2016 when Hairline Inc. was launched and created. So I got on the board and started working in Winnetka for Hairline Inc.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we have you, man. So people probably don't know this unless they've been to the office, but you found the place. We searched forever, and there's just a lot of zoning problems there in Chicago. So when you found that spot in Winnetka, and we got approval by the village council, you and your dad renovated the whole place.
We did. Because I remember it was hard finding anything in Chicago that had the zoning that we could do this kind of procedures. Because his had those issues and they had to move from downtown to a different location. And the other factor was, in downtown Chicago, a lot of people that came for S&P were out of state or different countries. So they don't know Chicago traffic. They don't know the parking fee. It's usually anywhere from $40 to $50 for a couple hours. And then traffic is just terrible. Once being stuck in that rush hour might take you, 2 hours, in a 12 miles radius or distance. So I always had clients that were coming in late, because they're stuck in traffic.
Or it took them 30 minutes to park
as
or
well.
something.
Yeah, so it had to change. So that's why I told you once we opened up, let me look for a place. And Winnetka is I'm familiar with that town because my wife, amazing wife, she's a preschool teacher here in Winnetka, so I know the community. And it's very close to the highway, major roads. So almost to go to downtown Chicago is about 25 minutes to 30 minutes away. So when I was looking, I found this specific place, which had amazing layout, something different. And it needed a little bit of work. So, but I knew this is the place. I felt it because we had the privacy for the clients, free parking, easy access, no traffic. 3 blocks down was the original house from the movie Home Alone. When I told that to the clients, they get excited to go over there, take a picture. It's
a really nice part of town. I mean, the whole North Shore, the lake is right there. And I really love coming in to visit.
Yeah, so Winnetka is one of the richest towns actually nationwide. So you have a lot of CEOs live over here, celebrities, athletes. Once we found that place, me and my dad, that's why I got my dad on the board. We remodeled it. I want to make sure it feels, relaxing, has a relaxing environment to it. Doesn't look like a 1980s doctor's or dentist's office. I love this location, and that's about it.
So since you've been in Chicago, I mean, between working at his and the Hairline Inc., how many people do you think you've actually been able to do treatments with? I mean, it's been what you said, 2012.
Yeah, so
7
late 2012,
years.
Beginning of 2013. So with his in the beginning, since S&P was so new, it still is to some people. A lot of people want to get it done. So I was doing close to 3 to 4 treatments a day. And I would say since 2012, I've probably done close to 3,000 clients, anywhere probably from 6,000 treatments. Either it's touch-ups, scar work, 2 sessions, 3 sessions, 4 or 5 sessions, depending on the treatment and the style that clients were going for, and also the condition that their scalp was in, if it's from transplant, wearing a hair system, or alopecia, chemo, or people that have cancers going through chemotherapy. So I treated everything there is. There's no surprises for me anymore. Because in the beginning, you're always scared, like, are you going to get that client that you don't know what to do with it? So for an entire year, you always had that scare, that fear.
Well, everybody's so different, right? I mean, the skin, different thickness. Some is really porous and loves to absorb the ink. Some is doesn't get good retention.
Correct. And it's a learning experience, because once you get through all of those, then even at the consultation, let's say the client's wearing a hair system, what condition the client's skin is. So you're already preparing your game plan of, how much it might be, how many hours it's going to take, how many sessions it's going to take. The client might be in pain. So every situation, your game plan already because it's from the experience, which is amazing. So
yeah, it's like planning a renovation,
right?
Almost.
It is correct. It is. And then so since working, I've been married for 12 years. So my wife actually, lived through my hair loss struggle, because sometimes I didn't want to go out, go to dinners, weddings, some kind of events. So she lived, through it with me in a way. So once I found out about SMP, she was just, please go get it done. This is what you want. This is what you need. Go get it done. So she was very supportive of it as well. And so, we've been dating for 17 years, been married for 12 years. Been together for 17 years, been married for 12 years. We have 4 amazing kids, which you met. They love you as well, especially Emma. So Emma is 4. She just turned 4 in April. And then a lot of people don't know, but I have triplets, which they're always amazed. Triplets? And I was like, yeah, triplets. So they're turn 2 on May 5th on Cinco de Mayo.
And they're not identical triplets
either.
They're
not identical. Yeah, there's 2 boys and 1 girl with the triplets, and there's Dominic, Maya, and Luca. Amazing kiddos. They drain my energy, but I love them. They drain my energy, but they give me energy as well. So I'm in that stage right now. It's like hibernating like a bear. I'm just getting my energy back slowly, because it is a lot of work, but I give all the credit to my wife. She's just amazing, just raising them, because guys have a shorter fuse when it comes to kids and babies, as mostly dads will say. But it's a test, of mentally and physically as well, as a person, because you grow for that. You become stronger. My family is amazing. That's why, I'm doing all of this is for the kiddos. And at the same time, me and my dad, it was time to remodel my basement. So he's helping with the basement. So, so it's like I got 3 jobs, obviously being a parent, Hairline Inc, and then the basement as well. But we're coming to the end. So
basement's almost done. You were doing that back in November, December.
Yeah, December. Yeah, so it's coming. Yeah, more than half a year.
But the triplets are growing up. They probably need some more space.
They do. Yeah, the space, the toys. Because the house is getting demolished, as most people will know. When you have kids, it's a tornado, especially with 4 kids. But we get a lot of help from my dad, from my mom, from Sandra's sister, her mom as well. So it's a group effort. Because without him, obviously, I don't think we would have survived, because we knew it's going to be a challenge. We took that challenge. It's not like we're going to get rid of some of the kids or decrease the pregnancy or reduce the pregnancy. We knew we wanted them, and, we take on the challenge, and here we are. So.
Well, that's incredible. Yeah. So Mike, I know we've got to wrap it up. You've got a consultation soon, but before we go, who are maybe 2 artists or other SMP companies out there that you think people should take a look at?
So like I mentioned, the 2 will be for sure Daz, that's in England. Daz is as we call him, OG, old gangsta in SMP. He's amazing. And then other artists, there's 3 girls, the Australian girls, the Charlie's Angels, Callie, Kate, and Susie in Australia. Felism is the company. They have amazing work. Follow them every day, look at their work. So if someone never heard of them, check them out for sure. Thank you for having me today, and hope we can do this again.
Yeah, I'd love to do this again. It's really cool to get to share a little bit of background info about you with other people in the industry and people who are interested in hair loss and in Hairline Inc. So thanks a lot, Mike.
All right,
we'll talk soon.
All right, bye.
All right, bye. Now that's it for today's episode of Hairline Inc. Radio. It's awesome getting to speak with Mike. If you've got ideas for other topics to discuss, questions you want answered, guests for the show, or you would like to be on the show, please drop me an email. It's bradley@hairlineinc.com. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you will be the first one to know about news, promotions, and so much more. Thanks for listening, and until next time, live with confidence.